I got one on Fiverr, a really badass one.
You can make an intro video.
No, so you have to pay one. You have to pay for one, but you can get one.
Interesting. I got
pretty good. Yeah.
But then, like, you got to do like AI, like you got to do like something that doesn't have any music rights fees or anything like that.
Right? So. Yeah. And the Fiverr person will pick it for you. You know what I mean? One that kind of goes with, Yeah. Okay. It was totally worth it.
Well, we are live. Hello, everybody. Why? It is so cool that we get there's people watching. That's so cool. This is our our third or fourth live endeavor. Welcome to the Donabag Podcast, part of the Sportscast Network. Welcome to everybody joining us live. If you want to join in on the conversation, I believe the only way to do that is if you join through our YouTube channel. So go on YouTube and search the Donabag Podcast. And join in that way. If you, we've had people commenting. This is really cool. And I think I just figured out how to display the comments that people make. So that's pretty cool. And see, we have check out the new overlay now. Our brand new overlay.
It's very nice.
Figured that out.
It's snazzy.
I'm taking a giant leap into the 20th century.
You are. Congratulations.
Woohoo! So
I just wish the Steelers would. Oh, but bump. You like that?
Actually, there's a lot to be said for that. That might be a theme tonight. Yeah. The Steelers definitely do not take any leap into any century, maybe the 19th or 18th century. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be introduced to the forward pass anytime soon, but we'll get to that in a minute. First, let's talk about the games this weekend. Did you see any of the playoff games?
I watched most of them, and I was just, it was a constant reminder of how much work the Steelers have ahead of them. I don't know if maybe that's where you were going with that, but it's I mean, we don't look anything like any of those teams.
No, and what do we need to do though?
Well, see, that's the thing. I mean, I was an ardent supporter of Mike Tomlin. The past couple of years, I've started to slowly maybe not. This year was like the straw that broke the camel's back, right? It was like and I don't know if it's Tomlin, I don't know if it's Rooney, I don't know if it's a combination of the both of them, but they just seem so resistant to change, right? They seem so resistant to having a quarterback that can it's a passing league, and the Steelers are still stuck with defense and running the ball, and you need both of those, but you also need a quarterback who can make plays, and they just haven't had it since Ben Roethlisberger. So
I was on another podcast, actually on the Sportscast Network, on the Jersey Boys podcast last week, and they asked me, what do the Steelers need to do to get good, to actually win playoff games? And I said, it's very simple. Get a quarterback.
Well, yes, this is true. But I don't think it's as easy as that, right? Because it's like Tomlin doesn't know how to, he was gifted Ben Roethlisberger, right? So he didn't really have
He had the quarterback. He had the franchise quarterback. Right. Ben was at least a top 5 quarterback in the league for 15 years.
Yeah.
Tomlin did not have to worry one thing about that. Ben handled that. And ever since then, we've been screwed. We've been, and the thing about, you said, well, they insist on running and winning by running in defense. Okay, that's very true, and they play a very conservative offense. And there is something to be said about zagging when everybody zigs, or zigs when everybody zags, doing the opposite of what other people are doing, if it works.
Right, exactly.
With Arthur Smith, they wanted to have a run first offense that ground and pound and win with running and defense, and that is fine. The problem is the running game sucked because the offensive line sucked. It wasn't that bad, but considering the day, I think if you look at the numbers throughout the year, I think the Steelers were fourth in rushing yards or something. They were pretty high in rushing yards, but I'm sorry, they were fourth in rushing attempts, but they were really low in rushing yards per carry or something like that. They ran and ran and ran, but it was not successful. And then we saw what happened to the defense. The defense, yes, started out great. The defense won games for them, and the Tomlin formula was working. We were winning, we were beating Baltimore 18-16, and we beat Atlanta 18-10 or something like that. And that's fine, but that's not a sustainable way to win. And that's how he's been trying to win for like the last 3 years now, and it just doesn't work. At least if it doesn't work with the players they have now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, they definitely need they definitely need a quarterback. They definitely need a veteran quarterback, right? Because, I keep going back to Tomlin not knowing how to develop quarterbacks, and he just doesn't. It's not his jam. I get it, but hire somebody who does. You know what I mean? Hire like a well-known, seasoned quarterback guru, right? If you're going to draft a young guy, you need to be able to develop him, right? I mean, if we had a proper quarterbacks coach who knew what he was doing, Kenny Pickett, whatever, maybe we would have been able to develop him better into, a better player, a better quarterback.
Well, Kenny Pickett got screwed by the whole Matt Canada thing.
Right.
Unfortunately, he was around for the worst offensive coordinator in the history of the universe. And that sucked for him. But I think what did Kenny Pickett in is that he got hurt.
Right.
And when he got hurt, he had concussions, knee problems, ankle injuries. When that happened, I think he got a little gun shy and he was afraid to get hit. And you just can't be a quarterback in the NFL if you're not willing to go out there and be daring. And if you're playing afraid, you ain't gonna make it.
No, and that was like his rookie season, wasn't it? Was like a rookie season. He had like 2 or 3 concussions or something like that.
Yeah, he had some concussions.
Yeah, you're a young guy,
Yeah. So, but I mean, they had veterans last year. Justin Fields is a veteran, but Justin Fields he was in his 3rd or 4th year. Russell Wilson is, been around for like
veteran as they come.
Yeah. But okay, but what do they do now? We hear these rumors. You saw this. There was this thing on the ESPN. Well, they're gonna give Russell Wilson Baker Mayfield money. 3 years, $100 million.
Right.
Is that where we want to go? Do we want to go with Russell? Do we want to go with Justin Fields? Do we want to go? I don't know what. I mean, if you look out there is not a whole lot available, at least as we know right now.
Right. Yeah. It seems like the consensus lately is that they're going to re-sign Justin Fields, which I think is the right answer, especially if we keep Arthur Smith. We kept hearing, rumblings about Arthur Smith, was really wanted to have Justin Fields as the quarterback and not Russell Wilson. If Arthur Smith sticks around, you know what I mean? Especially, right? Like, he's going to want to have him some Justin Fields. But I still feel like, he is a veteran, but he still needs he still needs development, and that's okay. There's plenty of I look at Sam Darnold, right? I mean, he was horrible for the first handful of years in the league. And then all of a sudden he goes to Minnesota and he's like a totally different quarterback, right? So it's like it's the system, it's the coaching staff. He wouldn't have just been able to go anywhere and do the same thing. So I sort of feel like if Justin Fields has the right coaches around him, the assistant coaches, I mean, Tomlin's going to be there, they're kind of stuck with him for a while, but I feel like Justin Fields is the right quarterback for what the Steelers need to do to be competitive and sort of take that next step into, modernizing, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well,
Ryan says he's referred to as the OC who shall not be named, Matt Canada. Sorry, I said it again.
Matt Canada is Voldemort, basically.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Hi. Wait, can I? Wait, I'm gonna show. Ooh, look at that! Look at that! I can show. I can look at that!
You're
Wow!
showing off now.
We are modernizing. Holy cow!
We
Hi,
are.
Ryan. Ryan has to be like, what the heck are these idiots
Right?
doing? Like, I'm new to StreamYard, so this is all new to me. The thing about Fields is, okay, well, I think there were a couple things that happened last year. Three things. First of all, he knew, and he was told from the first minute he showed up, bro, you're the backup.
Right.
Remember all those things about, oh, there's a quarterback competition, oh, blah, blah, blah. I mean, there was never a quarterback competition. We knew it was Russell Wilson the whole time. When Russell Wilson got hurt, when he started the season hurt, it's like, okay, Justin Fields, you're the guy. However, you can't really be the guy. They restricted the heck out of him. They did not let him be the Justin Fields of Chicago. And that's understandable because the Justin Fields of Chicago kind of sucked.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, he made a lot of mistakes.
Right.
Now there was another issue. Justin Fields also had a knee injury. So that held him back too.
Right.
But my point is, this year, let's say they go with Justin Fields. Don't hold him back.
Right.
That dude, if you want your own Lamar, you want your own Jalen Hurts, maybe even your own Josh Allen, he could be that. Yes, the passing is not there. He has to work on the passing.
Right.
Until he works on the passing, the dude can just run all over the damn field. He is one of the best running quarterbacks in the league, possibly ever. Let him do. Let Fields cook.
Right. Let Fields plow. We might have something on there.
This is why we pay you the big bucks.
Right. I'm copywriting that after we get off the show.
Let Fields plow. Exactly. Let him do his thing. Don't hold him back. And if he makes mistakes, so be it. But yeah, he might make mistakes, and he also might rattle off a 70-yard run. And by the way, your offensive line is still going to suck. Because the offensive line, what are we looking at next year? Dan Moore is gone, and you're going to have Broderick Jones move to the left tackle. You're going to have Fautanu as the right tackle.
Yeah.
And so you'll have basically a second-year guy, a third-year guy, 2 second-year guys in Zach Frazier and McCormick. So an extremely young offensive line, and Isaac Seumalo, who's old as dirt and actually kind of sucked last year. So you're going to have a very young offensive line that might possibly suck. There's something I heard which really made me sad, and it makes a lot of sense. Someone said they would like they want Broderick Jones to be more committed to the job. Dear God. And hey, we saw that. The dude, I don't know what country or planet he thought he was on, but he wasn't in the game. He was he would be like on a whole other planet, like not even anywhere in sync with the rest of the offensive line. That dude needs to get his head in the game, and that is extremely sad that we have to say that about a dude that what is it with these Georgia people? What is it with these Georgia players that they need to get their head in the game? I don't know what's going on down there, but that's sad. We're almost in the territory of. We're almost in the bust territory for Broderick Jones, sadly, if he does not have the mental capacity to play in the NFL.
Yeah. Ray Fittipaldo, he believes that he will indeed be not a good player, in terms of draft position, especially, right? But what's interesting is, he's going to be going back to his natural position. But how many snaps has he actually taken at his natural position, right? It's like. Now, he's been playing on a position since
they did mangle the hell out of him.
That's the thing, right? So I don't feel like that's his fault. Not that means he should just be on his own little world or whatever. But still, it'll be interesting to see. Once these guys know, okay, these are the positions I'm actually going to be playing this season. They're going to have all that off season to work on that and to develop, and hopefully. it's a cohesive thing because we have, who I feel like is going to be a great center in Zach Frazier. Mason McCormick, you know what I mean? Like, he was unexpectedly very good, and that's going to help us, So, man, if Fautanu can stay healthy and Broderick Jones, can play well at his natural position, you know what I mean? I think we'll be okay, but it's just a matter of them all working together cohesively as a unit.
And until they work cohesively as a unit, I mean, they're going to be extremely young.
Right.
You want somebody that's a mobile quarterback. And one thing Tomlin has been saying for like the past, even when Ben was here, he's like, I love mobile quarterbacks, mobile quarterback, mobile quarterback, mobile quarterback.
Sounds just like him.
It doesn't get more mobile than Justin Fields.
Nope.
So,
nope. And he's going to be cheap because he's not what a lot of teams view as. I mean, he's starter capable, right? But no teams are going to be knocking down the door. You know what I mean? To pay him more than what the Steelers want to pay him. I don't think so.
Exactly. Who is going to get Justin Fields? The Steelers are basically going to say, if the Steelers say to Justin Fields, hey, you're the guy. You're our 2025 starting quarterback. He will get the coveted pole position.
Right.
He will. You're our starter for 2025. What other team is going to say that? Any other team is going to say, "Yeah, we like you. You're going to be the backup. If something happened to the starter, you'll be the guy." But but the Steelers can say, "Hey, man, I know you want to be a starting quarterback in the NFL again. Here you go. We're handing you the keys." Just for that reason alone, I could see that. I could see Fields wanted to be with the Steelers.
Yeah, and he may have, nobody knows, right? He may have been promised, the starting job in 2025. Maybe that's why he didn't make although Justin Fields is not a guy to make a stink about anything publicly,
right?
Maybe that's why he was such a good teammate. You know what I mean? When he was, benched or whatever. I don't know if you can really call it a benching when he was never really the starter, but
right. Right.
Is what it is.
That 3 or 4 week period where Fields got benched and they put in Russell Wilson, and Russ actually did cook. That was a fun time to be. That was a fun time to be a Steelers fan. It was a fun time for Mike Tomlin too, because Mike Tomlin's like, "I told you so. I told you so.
I'm a genius, right?"
So.
His already inflated ego just, went haywire. Yeah.
DC Pitt fan actually has a good point. Might be helpful to hire a better O-line coach to develop the young guys. Okay. See, a lot of people want to get rid of I believe his name is Pat Meyer, the offensive line coach. And there's a couple things that are way against him and a couple things that are actually for him. Let's talk about the pros. He what did he have to do with Zach Frazier and McCormick? Those guys were rookies that came right in and started. So that was a success. The failure was Broderick Jones.
Right.
And and we could say, and there was a time where Dan Moore was doing really well, and then toward the end of the season he really sucked. So how much did Pat Meyer have to do with that? Right. One thing I think is really weird is usually the offensive coordinator gets to pick his offensive line coach. And this was not the case here. They told Arthur Smith, this is who you're getting. So I don't know what's going on with that. Right. There's the whole also Terrell Austin thing. Are they gonna get rid of him? Or I mean, they really should not either get rid of him or bring in other people to help him out or something like that.
Right. Yeah. And going back to Broderick Jones, falling off, and Dan Moore falling off, the competition was also stiffer. Not that should matter, right? Because you need to be able to beat the good team, the very good teams, the playoff capable teams, the teams that are right now in the playoffs, right? And we didn't beat any of them. Well, the Ravens aren't in the playoffs anymore, but we won't talk about that. It could just be one of those things where they were good enough to, Jones and Moore were good enough to play, to to do, you know what I'm saying, against good competition. But when it came to, really stiff competition, they just didn't know how to play as good.
Maybe. I think also that Frazier and McCormick just hit a rookie wall. It happens.
Right. Yeah, it
just-
does.
It so yeah, what they do at quarterback is the number one issue.
Yeah.
We'll see. And I mean, hey, who knows? Maybe some other team, maybe some team is going to look at Justin Fields and say he's our guy and make him an offer or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Either way, you got to bring in. I know it's not a great year for quarterbacks in the draft, but you got to bring someone else, like draft them something.
Yeah, we definitely need to, take the the Packers are the kings of drafting somebody and sitting them for years, right? And it's worked out for them. Aaron Rodgers behind Brett Favre and Jordan Love behind Aaron Rodgers. Bingo. And they both turned out to be, Aaron Rodgers is a future Hall of Famer. Who knows about Jordan Love? But it's like, man, there's something to be said there for bringing in somebody to sit behind, a quarterback for a couple seasons.
I say spend like a 6th or 7th round draft pick on like some dude that's maybe not has the strongest arm ever, but is like the next Brock Purdy, where he had like a lot of experience in college and so is intelligence or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because you never know. We could end up drafting the next Tom Brady.
Or the next Chris Olodokun or whatever they ended up doing.
Oh, no.
I believe that's Super Bowl champion Chris Olodokun.
Yeah, but, exactly.
The Eagles are in the NFC Championship game, which means they might go to the Super Bowl, which means they might win the Super Bowl. So at some point, Pittsburgh may have to deal with Super Bowl champion Kenny Pickett. Right. And if that happens, there will be another meltdown in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, couches will be set on fire in Pittsburgh for sure.
That's right. It's more of a West Virginia thing, but yeah, there'll be something will be set on fire. Parking. We set aside parking spaces with lawn chairs in here around here. So parking lawn chairs will be set on fire.
There you go.
Can you pick it? Yeah. So the games this weekend. The first one was the Chiefs beat the Texans 23-14. That was basically the refs just the refs basically just gave the Chiefs the game, which was very nice of them. It's
sad that was something that isn't much of a surprise anymore, right? The refs favoring the Chiefs.
It wasn't a surprise to Houston and all the mass of them. Like, yeah, we expected that.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
We expected crooked refs. And the surprise Saturday night, the Commanders beat the Lions 45-31. Oh boy.
Wow.
Jaden Daniels is hot as hell. My goodness.
He is. My goodness.
He is so on fire right now. It is amazing.
Him and his little toothpick legs. He's such little toothpick legs.
He needs to eat some more.
Right.
In the off season, but it's amazing.
I was pulling for the Lions. I was 0 for 2. I was pulling for the Texans and the Lions, and neither of them won. But I did make up for it the next day because I wanted.
Okay.
And I wanted to.
I really wanted the Lions to win too. I really wanted the Lions to win the Super Bowl. Now they're going to lose their offensive coordinator, probably their defensive coordinator. Who knows who else? They're kind of this. Right. I don't want to say their window's closed, but things are going to change for the Lions. They got to learn that playoff football is different than regular season football. And you could do your crazy little things. Your little, let's throw to the offensive lineman and let's have a wide receiver throw the ball and whatever. You could do that stuff, but it cost them the game. I mean,
Yeah.
also turnovers did, but still, it cost them the game on Saturday.
Yeah, you got to do that at the right place, right time, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, those, man, I mean, that was the most important drive of the game, you know, and they threw to the, you know, whatever to the wide receiver, and the wide receiver, you know, and then an interception, and it's just like, oh my goodness, like,
Yeah,
that was a nail in the coffin for him, and my heart bleeds for Dan Campbell and these jagoffs, I guess, as Pittsburghese would say, in Pittsburghese rather. They were making fun of Dan Campbell for being emotional and getting teary-eyed at the press conference. It's like, my goodness, people.
what he does, he's a that
He
guy
doesn't wanna
deserves
see it.
all the credit in the world, because there was no team that was lower for years,
Right.
decades
Yeah.
than Detroit.
Yeah,
And that guy brought that team back up to an elite status,
he
the
did.
number
Yeah.
one seed this year. He
Yeah,
deserves
and they had a
all the
laundry
credit.
list of injuries. I mean, I knew
my
they had a bunch
God.
of injuries, but once they showed the graphics on the screen, I was like, oh my gosh.
Almost their
That's the whole
entire
team.
defense was hurt,
Right.
and they were still doing well. It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really amazing.
Yeah, that guy deserves all the credit.
He
I mean,
does.
it's just,
He does.
you know, and you know, it's hard to say, well, you need to change what you do. It's like, well, what we did got us here. So
Right,
what do you mean?
exactly.
What do you mean change
Yeah.
what we do? So, you know,
Right.
yeah,
Just
but,
be a little bit
but-
smarter, you know, in a playoff game, you know, make sure that you're ahead when you try trick plays, when
Right.
you go into the bag of
Just-
tricks or whatever.
Yeah, I'd rather have Jared Goff throwing balls than the freaking wide receiver.
Right. God, Jared Goff though. Oh,
I feel
he
for him.
was just
I feel for him. That just sucks.
yeah.
That just sucks. And then on Sunday, the Eagles beat the Rams 28-22. Man, I was rooting for the Rams. And they
Right.
almost pulled
Yeah.
it off. But
Mhm.
you know, the Eagles are a team
Saquon
that,
Barkley happened.
yeah, Saquon Barkley. Now the Eagles are so what the Steelers want to be. That's I mean, I know they got what it was Andy Weidel that came
Right.
from Philadelphia. They are so what the Steelers want to be. They want to be, you know, this team with a really good offensive line and a really good defensive line, and you know, with running and defense, and oh, by the way, we have a really good quarterback and really good wide receivers too.
Right.
But actually,
that we should have drafted, but that's neither here nor there.
yeah, we could have had Jalen Hurts.
We
could have had. I remember that year that Jalen Hurts was drafted. Mel Kiper put out a mock draft, and he said the Steelers should take the Steelers should take Jalen Hurts in the second round. And I just laughed, and I'm like, "You idiots! We have Ben Roethlisberger. He's only 49 years old. He's going to be here forever. Why would we want anybody else?" But the Rams almost did it. Basically, I think, well, there's two things. The defense was the Eagles' defensive line is just so good.
They are.
Gosh.
Yeah.
But the I think the snow did them in.
Right.
If it was a warmer day that it didn't snow, I think the Rams would have pulled it off. But I think,
Right.
you know, you bring a bunch of people from LA into, you know, 10-degree weather when it's snowing. Like, nah, they're not going to handle that.
No. And I think the Ravens game showed us how the conditions can really impact the game. I mean, that ball was slick. Anytime they showed the ball, it was glistening. It was slick. It was hard. It was cold. The ground was like a rock.
You know, we say, why are these receivers dropping the ball? Well, yeah, the ball is like a frozen rock, a frozen slippery rock, basically. Like that's why you're dropping the damn ball.
Right. Yeah.
It's completely not enough is made of what football is like in those conditions, in those really cold snowy conditions. Yeah. Oh, and your footing sucks. You can't you can't get footing in the snow. Yeah.
And most teams only end up playing like 2 or 3, maybe 3 games max in those.
Even the cold weather cities, you're not, you know, I mean, you know, the Steelers didn't have that many, you know, snow games or whatever, you know, you're not used to that. Yeah. I mean, what, you're in Florida, and if it gets below 60 in Florida, people, you know, freak out. I think you guys might be getting snow or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It would just be crazy.
Yeah, I have a friend in New Orleans. She said,
Mhm.
we might be getting snow. What do we do? Like, I don't know. You're
Right.
just gonna die. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, we laugh at that, but it's like
Mhm.
these southern cities are not equipped for snow. So what are you
No.
gonna do? You just
Yeah.
hope it melts and you
Mhm.
stay inside because there's no way you have the equipment for that.
Right. Yeah, there is definitely a threat. I mean, temperature wise, right? This time of year, it's gotten to be at night, right? So there's like all these 80 million different layers that have to happen for Florida to have snow.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like it was like cold enough a couple nights ago to have snow if there was actual precipitation, which there
Oh,
wasn't.
okay. Okay.
Woo!
And
Yeah.
then the Sunday night game, Bills Ravens. Oh my goodness, people have been talking about this all day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what? Mark Andrews, I don't know if he got blackmailed or something like that. I don't know if he got, I don't know if somebody put a mind control device in him or something, but he became like a double agent. He became like an enemy of the Ravens or something like that. Because he had
Mm-hmm.
that huge fumble and then that ball that was right in his hands to
Right.
tie the game.
Yeah.
And the debate all day has been, is this Lamar Jackson's fault?
Right.
Is playoff Lamar Jackson a thing?
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
I don't know. What do you like? Do you think
Yeah.
that game was Lamar Jackson's fault?
No. No, definitely not. I mean, obviously, Mark Andrews, but there were a lot of turnovers. There were a lot of receivers dropping balls, but that's not all on Lamar, you know. But he did make some mistakes that if maybe didn't happen, maybe it would have been a different ball game, but I'm okay with Lamar choking in the playoffs. I have nothing, nothing
Well,
wrong with that.
we talk about how the Steelers need a quarterback, and you know how they did so well when Ben was in his prime or something like that. Like when Ben was in his prime and we had Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell, those were the years. That was the Super Bowl window. That was our
Mhm.
chance to get a Super Bowl. Well, this is the Ravens' chance. This is the
Right.
Ravens' window.
Mhm.
And yeah, okay, Lamar, he was not the only reason that they lost, but he did have turnovers.
Yes.
And he
Yep.
does have a lot of turnovers when he does kind of suck in the playoffs.
Mhm. Right, where he didn't have that issue during the regular season. So there's something to be said about that.
I mean, I joke that, that basically Jim Harbaugh's playoff record isn't very good either. Still better
Right.
than Tomlin's, at least, but
Right.
still,
And he
like,
gets deeper into the playoffs.
I mean, he does,
Yeah.
but they don't get as far as they want to
No.
go. You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
at some point, do you say maybe it's time for a change? Maybe
Right.
it's time to get rid of Harbaugh. I don't know. I don't know. Like, do they just keep doing the same thing over and over again?
Right. Yeah, yeah.
It's like the
Definition of
Steelers, but
insanity.
with a better team.
Right, right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a concern there for sure, but as long as they have Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry though, like he is getting old. He's not showing it, but he is getting old. So it's like, yeah, that window there. I mean, he's not going to be around forever, so they
How
do have
old is
limited time with this current cast of guys for
Derrick
sure.
Henry? Is 31.
Right.
He just turned
Yeah.
31
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago.
That's
How
what, like
long is he
60
gonna
in NFL years?
last?
Right, yeah, exactly. That's the thing, he shows no signs of slowing down.
He's an
He shows
absolute
no
freak.
signs.
He
Yeah, he's
is
a total freak.
he is
Yeah.
nothing resembling a normal human being in any way,
No.
shape, or form.
Mm-mm.
Um,
Nope.
but how many times did they give the ball to him last night?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
16 times or something like that.
Mhm. Mhm.
So at the beginning of like at halftime, I believe Buffalo was winning 21-10,
Mhm.
and then I think there was a couple punts or something like that, and then the Ravens decided to run the ball, and they
Mm.
ran it right down the Bills' throat, just like they did with the Steelers. They just
Right.
ran it with Derrick Henry,
Mhm.
and they just cut through the Bills like a hot knife through butter. So
Right.
what they did was they just kept on running and they won that game. Oh no, I'm sorry. They stopped running the ball.
They did. They did. They stopped running.
You
And
have
they have
something
like 2
that's
or 3
working.
guys. Right, yeah. I mean, if it's not Derrick Henry, it's that Justice Hill or whatever.
Justice Hill, yeah.
Some other dudes. They have a bunch of guys that are, obviously Derrick Henry is one of one, but that they have a running back core that can get the job done. You know what I mean? So it's impressive, what they're doing there in Baltimore, unfortunately.
Yeah, but they're not getting it done.
No. But we're
DC.
still jealous. I mean, I'm jealous of the Ravens.
I'm very jealous of them.
Yeah.
But I also, if I'm a Ravens fan, I'm like, hey, this is our window, and we keep doing this.
Yeah. It's like the Steelers fans were like, "How do you like them apples, Ravens?"
Exactly. What was it? Patrick Queen said, "Hey, we got that plane ready for you to go to Cancun." It's like, you know what, Patrick, maybe sit this one out. Maybe
right, yeah, exactly.
Maybe the way you played or something. No, he did. No, he did have an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
He had he was almost dead.
Right.
So, but still, maybe sit this one out, bro. DC Pit fan says it's a criminal that these northern cities are considered domes for their new stadium. I believe Cleveland is actually going through with moving their thing in. I don't know if they're doing a dome or not. Now, the Bills are not doing a dome. What they're doing is, but they're doing it like the Cowboy Stadium. It's not retractable. It's it's just covering the stands, like the roof is just covering this, so there'll just be an opening for the field, which is perfect, because then the fans don't have to deal with all that just on the field. So that's cool. But you see these pictures, and there was the snow game when the Steelers played in Cleveland. There was a game last night in Philadelphia. Also Buffalo, I believe, had snow also. It's so pretty. Snow games are so pretty.
Yeah.
Especially with those professional photographers taking these really nice pictures. It's just so pretty. It's like this is what football was supposed to be. The frozen tundra of Lambeau Field, stuff like that. It's like that's like football in its purest form. Like, it's almost like those that electronic football where you just have guys run into each other. That's basically just football in the snow is. Like,
right. Yeah. So
pure football.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I guess like you said, the Browns have informed the city of Cleveland of their intention to move forward on a new dome stadium in suburban Brook Park. That's ridiculous, right? Like, Cleveland doesn't need a domed stadium. They're not Minnesota. They're not Green
ridiculous.
Bay. Yeah. I'm from Cleveland. Unfortunately, we don't get the frigid temperature. I mean, we do not to where it's unbearable, and definitely not snow. I mean, it's more snow on the lake, of course.
Right.
But like, they don't get feet. They don't get they don't get multiple feet. They don't get multiple feet of snow on a regular basis, right? So it's just it's ridiculous.
So what do you think? So now we have the matchup. The AFC Championship game is Bills at Chiefs. Oh man, they were saying about Lamar Jackson. It's like, you had to win that game. You had to beat, Josh Allen to go further in the playoff. Well, for Josh Allen is at that level where he's gone to conference championship games, but then every time he goes to a conference championship game, he loses to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Josh Allen absolutely has to win this game, or the Bills of this time are going to be like the Bills in the 90s. At least the Bills of the 90s lost in the Super Bowl. These Bills can't even make the Super Bowl. The Bills absolutely have to win this game, and I believe the entire country is rooting for them.
Right, yeah, because I mean, the Chiefs are the new Patriots, right? And they have been since essentially Tom Brady retired.
Yep.
So it's like, yo, you have to do this for the country, because nobody wants to see the Chiefs win except for Taylor Swift and Chiefs fans and Swifties. You know what I mean?
Honestly, if I'm a Chiefs fan, I'm like, this is boring. All we
Right.
do is go
Yeah.
to the Super Bowl every year. Meanwhile, if the Bills went to the Super Bowl,
Oh, how many tables would
oh,
be destroyed, right?
where is the
jumping
Super Bowl
tables.
this year?
New Orleans, Nolans.
Oh, in
I
New
think,
Orleans. There
right?
you
I think
go.
so. Yeah, Nolans. Yeah.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Right. Right.
Go see if those folding tables fit on the plane going to New Orleans. Let's
Right.
or if they have stores and they would have folding table stores in New Orleans just
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
through the
Yeah.
tables. Here's your folding table. Here's your lighter fluid. Here's your matches. Here you go.
Yeah.
No, seriously, the Bills would be so excited to go to the Super Bowl.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so, either way, I mean, I know Philadelphia was just there not too long ago, but imagine Washington, what that fan base is going through right now.
Right. Yeah. They don't even know what to do because, right? I can't imagine nobody expected them to be where they're at right now.
No.
So they're like,
not
what?
at all.
Oh,
I have a
nice
feeling.
position to be in, though.
I just have a feeling Washington's going to win. And here's why. I think Jalen Hurts is hurt.
Right.
Hurts is hurt.
Hurts is hurt.
And all you have to do, the dude cannot throw. The dude, the dude cannot. He can't throw. He can't run. He can't do much.
Right.
All you do at that point is stop Saquon Barkley.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Which
is a very hard task to do.
All you have to do is stop Saquon. Ain't no thing.
Right.
Yeah. Washington has especially after watching how they performed against the Lions, right? I mean, they have as good of a chance as anybody, to defeat the Eagles, for sure.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, Bills Washington or Bills Eagles would be a great stuff. But Chiefs, good God,
yeah,
can we not?
Yeah,
and just I don't want to see Mahomes' wife.
No,
I don't want to see Taylor Swift. We're over this,
right? Yeah,
and Kelsey is like 100 years old. Like this has to be his last year.
Right. Yeah.
Bro.
It sounds like he wants to keep playing, but that's right now.
There's no way. Although it is very funny. There were times in the when they were playing the Texans where Kelsey was wide open and people were like, how could this happen? Like, I think every single Chiefs game in history has been Kelsey's wide open. How could this possibly happen? Because we were killing the Steelers for that. It's like that's what Kelsey does. Yeah. He has some mind link with Mahomes. They know they know where to go.
Yeah. Scary.
What else was I going to talk about? I was going to mention basically who's going to stay and who's going to go, and I was going to say that really we're not going to lose we're not going to lose too many players, because let's assume they keep Justin Fields. So there's your starter. They're not losing anybody. Running back, they lose Najee Harris, but they're still going to have Jaylen Warren. So you're really not losing anybody there. Wide receiver, I don't know what's going to happen with Pickens. I think they're going to lean toward keeping him for that final year and dealing with all his ridiculousness. And but they'll lose Van Jefferson. I hope they
that's fine.
I hope they flush him down the toilet. Well, he's okay, so that's one starter out. There's gonna be no changes at tight end. Offensive line, they're kind of set there because Broderick Jones will move over and Fautano will be there. So no changes, no lost starters there. Defensive line, they're gonna lose probably Larry O, which is fine.
Right.
So there's one there. Linebackers, they're fine, and the secondary, they're going to lose Dante Jackson, but they're probably going to replace him with Corey Trice. So really, we're talking about only a couple starters actually lost on the team. Now the depth players, that's a whole other story.
That is a whole other story. Yeah. But you're right though. In terms of the starters, though, I think that they're pretty set. What could be interesting with Pickens is, maybe if come, the trade deadline, right? If the Steelers aren't, depending on what the record is, they might be able to get something for him, because if they don't extend him this offseason, they're not going to keep him, right? So it's like,
Right.
might as well get
Right.
something for him while they can.
Yeah. That's a big question. Another
Mhm.
big question is, okay, so I think they're going to have a pretty good amount of money. I think they're going
Mhm.
to have a pretty good amount of space.
Mhm.
Right now, I believe they're going to have 43 million in cap space, but that doesn't really mean anything. There's a million
Right.
things that could still happen.
Right. Yeah, lots of
But
contract negotiations,
right,
extensions,
yeah, who
things like
knows?
that.
Who knows what all is going to happen? But as of
Mhm.
right now, it looks like they're going to have some space to do some things. And
Mhm.
it's like, okay, obviously, you cannot do at wide receiver what you did this year.
No.
You can't just go with Van Jefferson and Calvin
Mm-mm.
Austin to go along with
Mike
Pickens.
Williams.
You need something else.
Yes. Yeah.
And they were like, "Whoa, let's get T. Higgins. Let's get this." Like, why would T. Higgins want to come here?
No.
Besides, unless we pay him an astronomical amount of money,
Right.
unless we just pay him more than anybody else, which is not the
Mhm.
Steeler way.
No.
But why would you want to say, "Hey, yeah, come here"? And he's gonna say, "Well, who's your quarterback?" Like,
Right.
well,
Yeah.
it might
Exactly.
be Justin Fields. Like, oh, so Justin Fields is gonna run around all over the place, and not even throw to me. That's cool.
Right.
Like, why would
Mhm.
anybody want to come here with such a crappy quarterback situation?
Right. Yeah. Very good point.
So we'll see, but I have a feeling they're going to overcompensate for that. They're going to go, because they had not enough last year. They're going to have too many
Right.
wide receivers this year.
PTSD. Right. Like
Right? Yeah, like
right,
it
yeah.
never, never again.
Uh-huh.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see
Yeah.
what happens there. Did you see the thing from Marlon Humphrey where he said something like? He said something like, something's going on with that Steelers defense, but I can't say what it is, or something
Yeah, and he
like
compared
that.
him to the Jets. Ooh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because there's a lot of turmoil going on there. Yeah, I mean, there's speculation, right, that he's still close with Queen and with
Deshaun Elliott.
Yeah, thank you, with Deshaun Elliott. Yeah, he stopped short of saying what was going on, but you have to imagine that it's some inside knowledge that he got from one of the defenders there. So one of the defenders in Pittsburgh. So, but it's like, what is it?
Something
right? Like, what's going on?
Something has to change.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope they have they either work out their issues, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever the problem is, they solve it or something like that.
Right.
Who knows what the real issues are.
Yeah, because they're secondary.
They need to fix it, because almost every single game, everybody was pointing at each other like, "I thought you had him. I thought you had him." Like, how can you have this stuff?
Right.
You look at every other team. You see. Do you see the Eagles doing crap like that? No. You see the Chiefs doing crap like that? No, they're a fine-tuned, well-oiled machine that kicks his butt. Well,
right.
And another thing, like, they just need a defensive coordinator that actually schemes something different. They don't blitz. I don't say they don't blitz anymore, but they're doing it wrong.
Right.
And, they just need a better. They just need either replace Terrell Austin or get him some help or something like that. But
right, yeah,
something got to change.
Yeah. I mean, as the Steelers are cheap. They're not gonna fire Austin. You know what I mean? And then bring in a new guy and have.
If they don't fire Terrell Austin because he's under contract and we don't want to pay anybody else, like, screw you! Come on, guys, don't be that damn cheap.
Right. Well, yeah.
I mean, I can understand when it's Tomlin. He's making like $18 million a year. It's like, okay, we don't want to pay him for nothing. Okay, fine. But how much is Terrell Austin making? Come on.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the defense is a problem. They're just not consistent enough for long enough periods of time. So yeah, there's definitely some concerns there. And I do, I hate to keep going back to Tomlin, but it's ultimately his defense, right? So it's like we could have Brian Flores in there.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, yeah, let's get Brian Flores, let's get Robert Saleh or something like that. Nobody's going to want to come here because they know it's Tomlin's defense.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's why we can't. That's why we have never been able to get big names.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Since Tomlin's been there, it's like any big names that we had already existed in the Cowher era. So it's like,
yeah. Something needs to change. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Well,
it's gonna be a long off season.
We've only just
I know.
We're technically not even in the off season. At least, we've only just but at least now we can look at other teams and say, wow, we suck compared to these teams.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
We can look at these teams and say it is hopeless.
Right.
Did you see Ben Johnson, who was the offensive coordinator of the Lions? He just became the
Chicago Bears
coach today. And it was, from what I understand, it was between the Bears, the Raiders, and possibly the Jaguars. And he didn't want to be with the Jaguars because the GM there is an absolute, he's the Matt Canada of GMs.
Right.
But I'm guessing he didn't want to go to the Raiders, because why would you want to be in the AFC? You're kind of in a death sentence. It's like you got to deal with Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
One of those four are gonna go to the Super Bowl almost every single year. You're screwed. Like the Steelers, even if they had Russ level at MVP level, they weren't gonna beat one of those, all three of those teams in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. It's like, why did he go to the Bears? Well, it's probably because it's the NFC. You know what I mean? And it's more of a
who you find in the NFC. Jalen Hurts. I mean, that's about it.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Jordan Love. You can beat him.
Yeah.
Like, and we were just in an era where we got 3-4 superstar quarterbacks, and they're all in the same conference.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And unfortunately, all the other teams in the AFC are just absolutely screwed.
Right.
And so it's you think there's bad times now for the Steelers. At least we're making the playoffs.
Right, that's true. Playoffs. Right, yeah, exactly.
That might be our ceiling right now, is just making the playoffs.
Yeah, good times. Love just making the playoffs and then one and done. It's great.
There you go. There you go.
Might as well get used to it.
You know what? There are so many accounts out there that show Steelers highlights from previous years. Like today is the anniversary of the Steelers winning Super Bowl 14 against the Rams. And so there you go. Let's just live in the past. That's what we do in Pittsburgh anyway.
Right. Yeah. Oh, jeez.
All right. Well, hey, thanks so much.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Darren, we miss you. Hope to see you soon.
I didn't miss you, Darren. I'm sorry. Just kidding.
You're like Franco who? Darren who?
Right, Darren who?
The main thing to remember is let Fields plow. That's what we remember.
Let Fields plow. I think we can work with that.
I might make that the title of the episode. All right. Hey, thanks so much. Later. Thanks everybody for watching.
Bye guys. Thanks for coming on. See ya.